Mr. Bumble and Mr. Grump were two neighbors who lived in Franklin, a beautiful town, surrounded by happy homes and bustling bakeries. Mr. Bumble was known for his adorable laugh and his love of all sweet things. He was a happy-go-lucky person whose heart was as warm as his freshly made pies. But Mr. Grump, on the other hand, was a man who had forgotten to smile. His glare and rough look often made it seem like he was stuck in traffic all the time. Mr. Bumble and Mr. Grump were completely different people. But they had one thing in common: sandwiches. Mr. Bumble was a talented chef who loved to create delicious sandwiches using a variety of colorful vegetables, soft cheeses, and delicious meats. But Mr. Grump liked a simple sandwich, just 2 pieces of bread, a slice of ham, and a big piece of cheese, sandwiched between them. One afternoon, as Mr. Bumble was preparing his lunch, he saw a strange sight. Outside his window, his neighbor, Mr. Grump, was standing there carefully, watching the process of making sandwiches. Then Mr. Bumble gets the idea to invite Mr. Grump to taste his sandwich. "Mr. Grump, would you like to come have lunch with me?" he said, smiling. Mr. Grump raised his eyebrows sharply and complained, "Why would I do that?" But then a gurgling sound started coming from Mr. Grump's stomach. Mr. Bumble smiled and said, "I just made a batch of my special sandwiches, and I thought you might want to try one." To conceal his embarrassment and satisfy his hunger, he reluctantly accepted Mr. Bumble's invitation, saying, "Well, I suppose I could spare a few minutes." Sitting at Mr. Bumble's kitchen table, Mr. Grump was looking curiously at the sandwich. A delicious sandwich made with roasted vegetables, creamy avocado, and thinly sliced turkey. Mr. Grump hesitantly took a bite of the sandwich, and his eyes widened in surprise. "Actually, it's very good," he said, softening his harsh tone. Mr. Bumble smiled and was proud of his sandwich. "Mr. Grump, I'm glad you like my sandwich. As I often say, a delicious sandwich can make even the worst of days better." Over the next few weeks, Mr. Bumble and Mr. Grump become good friends and meet every day at lunch to exchange stories and sandwiches. At that time, Mr. Grump would tell him about the small joys of his life and his ways, and Mr. Bumble would introduce him to the world of his delicious sandwiches. Over time, Mr. Grump's angry frown subsided and was replaced by a gentle smile. Now, he not only looked forward to the sandwich at lunchtime, but he also looked forward to the friendship that had developed between him and Mr. Bumble. One day, while they are sitting in their regular spot, Mr. Bumble surprises Mr. Grump by giving him a sandwich that has all his favorite ingredients, but with a twist. As Mr. Grump takes his first bite of Mr. Bumble's uniquely styled sandwich, and his mouth fills with a variety of flavors, Mr. Grump's voice was full of true gratitude, and he said, This is incredible. Thank you, Mr. Bumble." Mr. Bumble smiled kindly. "Thank you, Mr. Grump. And never forget that sharing a delicious sandwich with a friend makes it even tastier."